Hi, you guys. Joseph and I are going to do a live. I'm just waiting for him to hop on and request to do this with me. This is, I think, I haven't done that many lives on Instagram, so this is kind of new to me. I mostly do it on TikTok, but barely do it at all, really. Hi. Hi, you guys. Thank you for coming on. I'm on just a couple minutes early. I know Joseph is going to be joining me, but I wanted to make sure I could get on and know what I am doing to make sure it was a live video. Hi, you guys. How are you? I love Joseph too. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate that. I had to plug in my phone. It's going to need to charge while I'm doing this. We're just waiting for Joseph to hop on too. There we go. There we go. I think when Joseph asks me to join, it'll just like pop up, right?
I think.
Okay. Whoop. I'm doing well, Amy. Thank you so much for asking. If I can get this darn thing. Oh my gosh, thank you. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Riley. Thank you, Emily. I love you too. We're just waiting for Joseph. I got on just a minute early. Oh, CJ, will you get me my drink? I left it on that table right there. Hi, Maureen. Oh my gosh, I haven't talked to you forever. Oh, you love my Jennifer Coolidge. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I would go on Survivor. You guys already know. I've said I'd go on Survivor. I love Jeff. Love the show. Come on, Joseph. Get on here. Go on Survivor. Absolutely, I would. What would I do if I went on Survivor? Oh, man, I would be mischievous. He sent the request in the comments. How can I... I think Joseph is coming on now, but I don't see it working. Oh, there you are.
Hey, how are you?
Sorry, this is new to me. I've not done the two thing on Instagram before.
No, you're good. I only know VHS, so it's kind of weird for me too, this modern day technology. But how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Get a haircut?
I did get a haircut.
I like
It was
it.
much needed. Yeah, I looked disheveled before,
Oh, you look
but
really good now. You look
thank
great. I mean, you
you. I
always do.
appreciate
You
it.
always do. But
Yeah, I noticed that you got a hairdo too that you were showing off.
when I was doing this, because somebody said
Yeah,
I
yeah,
had red
yeah.
hair, I just put a curl through it.
Nice. Yeah, Quinn's coming tomorrow. Because we're all going to the Over the Edge weekend
Is
in
he at your
Orlando.
house?
Yeah, Quinn's gonna come. He's gonna sleep on my couch.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I
Cedric
think that
too.
means it's safe to say we'll be seeing some fun videos from you too.
Yes, yeah. We already have some plans for some stuff. And then Cedric is coming in at midnight, and then Chelsea, I'm gonna see her on Tuesday. Like they're all coming to Tampa first, and then we're gonna go to Orlando to the event together. Tucker, is going to be here on Wednesday. So the whole gang.
I know. I know there's 3 of us that are not going.
It's you, Brooklyn, and Lisa?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Well, you'll be sorely missed, obviously.
Well, you guys are going to have a blast, and I know that it's going for a good cause, so I fully support it. I'm so excited for you guys to get together and have so much fun.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm like a huge reality TV fan, so I'm gonna
As am
see all these
I.
Survivor people, all these challenge people. Like, I watch all the shows, so I know all of them, and I'm gonna know all of them, and it'll be a lot of fun.
I did try to talk to Teeny because I know you and I have a mutual, or you have a mutual friend to Teeny.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and I tried to talk with her the other night, but she was jet lagged, so we didn't end up connecting. But I mean, just for her to even reach out to me and like DM me and everything, I was like, man, this is weird, Joseph, because you and I, we both love reality shows so much.
Yes.
And now, because we've been on a reality show, we kind of have this little bit of a window open where we can talk to other people that have been on reality shows and that are currently on these reality shows that we love. It's kind of like, holy cow, how is that even happening? How is that
I would
possible?
have no business talking to some of these people otherwise.
No,
They would never answer my calls,
and I chatted with
never answer
Sue
my messages. Some of
I'm
them
so
still
impressed.
don't. But yeah, like when I got out, I talked to like as soon as I got eliminated, like 2 days later, I talked to Andy Herron, who won Big Brother 15, and he like supported me like throughout the whole season. I talked to Eric Stein the other day from Big Brother 8. That was like Evil Dick's original season. Like, you just talk to all these like cool people who like you admire in some ways, like just watching their gameplay in the past. And it's really cool to, like you said, just have an excuse to talk to them. And they're usually, like you said, like excited to talk to you too, because they're still fans and they're watching the season, so they want to pick your brain about everything. So
I know I've been messaging back and forth with Sue from this season's obviously Survivor, and I told her I am so here for her. She is literally like doing what I want to do on Survivor.
Is she the older woman?
She is.
Okay, I haven't been watching this season.
The one
so
that's contouring with dirt right now. She's genius. She's freaking TV gold too. Like, she's genius. Yeah. But no, I just told her I'm so invested in her game right now. I'm so excited, and I'm happy for them. They get to be home and watch the season play out just like everybody else.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a fun advantage.
Yeah. I getting home was actually, it was cool because I don't know what your experience was, but I feel like for me, I really got to see how much their people in my life actually care about me and love me and like everything like that, because you reconnect with people that you haven't talked to in years, or like family members or like whomever, and just talking to all these people who are like, we were rooting for you, we were watching you in the bar, we were like, oh, and like, you know, and everything like that. It's been really cool.
That feels really good. I'm feeling the same way. I'm getting a lot of that support and love, and it's a weird out of body experience. It's kind of like, you know, we got this dream, came to fruition, we got to do it, and now your family and friends, absolutely. It feels so good to be home. And even just strangers reaching out and DMing you or just leaving comments on your social media. It's just like, wow, this is so, like, how do I deserve this? This just feels amazing.
Yeah. You know, it's really cool. I'm really grateful for everything, and I still feel like a fan too. It's like weird. Like, I'll get like a FaceTime call from Tucker, and I'll just be like, "Oh, it's Tucker from Big Brother."
I know.
Not like, hey,
I do that
like
too.
your friend.
I do that too.
Like
I
you
did
know.
that with you the other day when we were talking on the phone. I was like, "Oh, it's Joseph. Joseph's calling me."
Yeah,
Sorry guys, I gotta go. Yeah. Joseph's calling me right now.
Because the first thing I told you on the finale stage when I first saw you was, and I don't know if you remember, but I was just like, Angela, you're like an icon, and you're like, no, Joseph, no, I'm not. I'm like, no, I'm telling you, like you're like,
crap. You don't know anything. When you're
yeah.
And you finally come out, and you're getting to talk to production. You're getting to talk to people, getting to talk to you, and then you're saying this A, B, and C was going on when you don't know what people's perception is of you on the show, and this is what you're coming out to. This is what you have. Fans, you have people that care about you, you have people that have supported you, you have people that didn't like me at first, and then all of a sudden now they love me. And
you and Quinn both kind of did that, where like at first it was not good, and then like it, like, you know, like people start, I think people really liked, and I did too, like once I got home, like just admired your moxie for the game, because there were some people in there who were a little passive at times, and you were anything but. You know, you were the aggressor like the whole time. So I guess like I kind of
Well,
just
I
want to
have to stop you there
go
a little
ahead.
bit. To be honest with you, I wanted to say and do so much more. But being in the moment and being in that house, I was in survival mode. I knew I couldn't do it any longer. There would have been so many things I would have said to certain people, especially when they were talking down at me. You don't know how badly I wanted to say, what the hell? And just jump up and be like, WTF? Like I would have just been like, if I could, but I just felt like I had to really pull back and just try to play more reserved because and just be more happy-go-lucky self other than the emotional stuff. I just knew I could not keep literally
You were
just talking from my
holding
heart.
back?
I was holding back.
Oh my god.
I had to. Joseph, I would
Yeah.
gone home for sure.
Oh
I
yeah,
was flying
yeah,
by the
yeah.
seat of my pants.
Yeah, you had some close calls there, but you were
Yeah, I did.
always able to like make people trust you just enough. Just enough to where we'd be like, you know what, let's give her another shot. like, you know, it was pretty funny. Like, I remember like really thinking when we made Sixth Avenue, I'm like, oh, she's locked into this. Like, there's no way she's going against this alliance. No, like going for 24 hours
I know.
and come out,
If
I'm like, nope.
Tucker had just come to me and said, instead of putting fear in me and telling me that people think I'm the fake AI person or whatever, if he had just come to me and just said, you know, just more transparency, just be like, people are saying this, but I'm defending you. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
And it's going to pass. It's not even great information. It's yesterday's news anyway, what the deep fake is saying.
He
And
didn't.
I
I
really
didn't
had
watch the
something.
conversation, so I didn't see how he approached it at
Yeah, and
all.
it was very nonchalant. It was just kind of like he was doing laps in the pool and I'm just sitting there in the lawn chair. But it was like just enough for me to go, why is he's my alliance. He's somebody I'm supposed to be able to rely on and trust. And the way that he's telling me this is more like, you got to convince them otherwise. Not like he wasn't saying that he was telling them
Right.
otherwise and that it
Which he
was more
wasn't.
like,
He was, and that kind of confused me too, because I felt like they were all kind of stoking the flames of it at the time. Like everybody thought it was you before I went into the Matrix, and honestly, I was not surprised to see you on the block when I came out because of that, because I knew that rumor was like going around and stuff like that, and I never felt like T-Core and you ever like really had that bond either, to where she wouldn't put you up, you know.
right.
So I was not surprised when I was there. I was surprised that you stabbed Tucker in the back and did all that stuff. I was like, what? And like going back to and seeing some of the stuff you did, I'm just like, oh my god, she's so funny. Like watching you like go up to them about the alliance, the tanks thing, like watching you on the floor, like listening through the door and like everything like that. I'm like, who is this person?
Dude, I
Like
had 4 teenage kids at one time.
right.
I didn't
No.
have to be a
No,
deer
but
hustler. I
like I'm
had to
not
know what was
criticizing
going
it, by the
on.
way. Like I love it. Like I love that like aggressive, like gonna do whatever it takes. I don't care how I look. I'm gonna get on the floor. Like I love that. Like I felt the same way about like the way Brooklyn went out. Like she knew she was going home. Like she knew there was no chance, but she like kept fighting and everything. Like I loved that
The
from both you,
tenacity,
honestly.
all of
Like
it, yeah.
yeah. So my first impression of you going into the house was we were in line. I feel like you were in front of me, behind me. You were like I could see you, and I was just like, oh my god, like she seems like so sweet, and not that you're not, but like she seems so sweet and everything like that, and like. I feel like you and me like really got pretty like close at the beginning. Like I feel like you were one of the first people I kind of tried to like talk game with in those first couple of days. And then when we like it was new rule, like you have to pick the team and everything like that. I feel like you, me, and T-Core were pretty like locked in with that. And they
No,
didn't show it
no.
on the
I want to
episode.
stop you right
Yeah, go
there.
ahead. Yeah. And
Because
anytime you want to
you
stop me, go
made
ahead.
this deal. You made this deal and I didn't, but I felt locked into this deal that you made that I did not agree to. And you're like, I mean, but I get where you're coming from. You're securing your spot. You're securing T-Core's spot
Oh yeah,
and mine.
I was just
So
hedging my bets, and I thought it was a good deal for all of us, you know.
it was. But when I won, it wasn't so great because I would have put T-Core up. I would have put T-Core up
I know,
because she
and
was
I
very
always
quiet.
I always told T-Core that, by the way, to get her trust. I was always like, you were almost on the block the first week, and it's because of me you weren't. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I would always like bring that up to her, like as like future currency. But yeah, you were actually going to put T-Core on the block that first week because I think your strategy, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like your strategy was like, I'm going to put up. I want an easy week. Like I'm gonna put up the people who socially
We're
aren't really talking to
connecting
people
from
and
what,
stuff like
right.
that. And so that at the time was Chemo and T-Core. They were the two people. They were, you know, they're shy, reserved people at first.
Yeah.
So they were kind of two of the obvious ones that, and that wasn't just your thing too. Like everybody was telling you their names as well. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So, so when you won the first HOH, and they didn't show it on the episode, but Kenny completely screwed it up. Like he almost won, and like it was so suspenseful because I was so scared of Kenny. I was like, if this guy wins, like I'm going on the block for sure. And then you won, and it was the literal best feeling. I was just like, that's the exact person I wanted to win. Like literally, like it couldn't have worked out any better. T-Core was also excited. And yeah, that
Is
was
it your
awesome.
deal? Is
Right,
it your
yeah,
deal?
exactly. Yeah. But had I won, you would have loved that deal. You would have been like,
I
oh,
would
this
have,
is
and
a
that's
great
why I was
deal.
like, in the moment, I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna just. I didn't say yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't really remember, but in my, I don't
Yeah.
know. I just felt like, I got to do this because the three of us got there together, so it
Right.
only made sense. It was the right thing to do. I definitely was feeling that struggle because I did have a lot of pressure on me, and I did feel like T-Core would have been somebody very easy at that point in time to put her up, just because she seemed a little bit more reserved, a little bit more shy. And she did say throughout the show that she felt she was coming each week out of her shell and developing friendships in the house with almost everybody, where it was something that was helping her and that she was very thankful for. Even down to the last moments of her being in the house, she had said that that was something she was thankful for, was just being able to kind of open up to everybody and have this new profound kind of confidence going into new relationships and friendships.
Yeah. And her social game was very
Yeah.
good and radiated throughout the game. But yeah, and then I remember on a one-on-one, I told you like, oh, I don't think you should put up T-Core. And also like, I think that the women love you. The guys, I feel like I can bro out with the guys and let's do that. And we'll like, and I didn't want to lock in a final two with you because I was playing like kind of a little bit, like I didn't want to make too many deals at the beginning because I knew people were going to be sketched out by me. And so I was, which they're sketched out by me either way. And so I was like working with Matt and trying to like get info from him, but my loyalty was to you ultimately, like the whole time. Like I was very weary of Matt from early on because I could see he was running around with a chicken like its head cut off, Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, yeah.
I wish I would have recognized that. I wish I would have recognized. I knew that he was totally rallying the house because he really felt that I was going to put him up. And now looking back over it, I can see some things that I did to him, or said to him rather, in the bathroom, where I was like, the whole showman's thing. And totally, I would have been, if I were him, I would have been thinking the same thing. Like, this girl's putting a target on my back. Now, I didn't realize this in live time and, real time. I didn't realize what I was doing. I was just being silly and,
Yeah.
playful, I thought. But my
I
personality
thought
sometimes
he took
come off
that
harsh.
completely the wrong way, though. Like, I think that's like on him as well. Like, it was to me at least because I remembered that situation and he brought it up to me later. And I, the whole time, was trying to get you guys to work together and try to basically have my cake and eat it too. Like, this guy really likes me. This lady really likes me. Let's like try to figure this out, basically. And he was just very stubborn. And I think it was a little bit of MJ in his ear too, because it seemed like MJ, even though she liked you early on, she always was like, she was threatened by you, like early on. I remember she told me that you reminded her of Ian Terry, that you were a super fan and you would win the whole game if you got to the end. And she was just thinking so far ahead, like the first week, and telling people out loud. And they just both had this thing against you for like whatever reason. And then you were telling me that you thought I was working with Matt, and I was like, oh no, like that's not what's happening, like at all. Like I am gonna
You know,
stab this guy in
in
the
those
back.
moments, though, Joseph, it's just completely chaotic, and you're just living in survival mode, and you're just so paranoid. I mean,
No,
tell me you weren't paranoid.
I think no, I think I did stuff wrong too. I don't think it's all you. Like I think that like like in retrospect, making the alliance, like I should have had you in the room for it when we did that. That would have, I think, helped out a lot. But it's like when you watch the show, you don't realize when you're there how hard it is to get everybody in a room with each other and like hash it out
Yeah.
without being super obvious about it. So like sometimes like felt like I just had to do things and just get it done. And then like I'll tell you later like what happened or like whatever. And you just gotta trust me. Because to me, I was like, I'm completely on her side. Like of course she trusts me and everything like that. And then the next morning you come downstairs and I'm like, oh no. So well, and I think Quinn, I think you were also sketched out by him as well, if that's correct.
Yeah, a little, just because, I mean, not necessarily the first week. It was, I guess it was kind of like a few days after the whole thing, you know, calling out Matt and all of that. I knew that Quinn was going to be really leery of our alliance, and that I myself having this information of his power, he needs to now get me out. He needs to figure out an indirect way to get me out, so that way I go out with the knowledge of his power and it stays safe to him and whoever else he wants to share it with. Because, you know, from his perspective, from what I can understand, is that here he is, he's given this information to the first HOH and she's just gone crazy and haywire, and now she no longer can necessarily be trusted by him because she's outing people and calling people out. So it makes sense that he'd want to get me out of the game. Just some of the ways that he went about it weren't so cool in my book, but it's whatever. It was just a game. And I can understand him not wanting to work with me any longer, and that's fine. That's totally fine. But back to the beginning of this conversation when you were talking about first impressions, was there anybody in the house that you had a first impression of and then it completely was not me? Don't, not about me, because I know that's obvious. I know that's the obvious. But anybody else, like, is there anybody that you just like went in there, you had this first impression and they completely threw you for a loop, and if so, in what way?
Definitely Tucker. I think like when we first got into the house, he was Tucker, right? He's just being loud and like whatever, and you're just like, who is this guy? Like, you know. And then like once you get to talk to him, he was like he has a lot of depth, you know, like he's a film major, like he's an artist, like everything like that that you don't necessarily like expect from him. So I would have to say Tucker. Was there anyone for you?
I would have to say the same.
Yeah.
Because when we first were standing in this little bit behind the scenes things, when we were outside, we were the first group because we were together, and Chelsea was in that group, and Mackenzie and a few others. But Tucker, he was kind of like a jokester, like right away.
Yeah.
We were told to be quiet. We're not allowed to look at each other, talk to each other. Half the time we're blindfolded, so we can't see. So it's very organic when we go inside and we're on Julie's stage. So just those little wise cracks behind the scenes and making us all freaking laugh out loud, getting us in somewhat trouble. And then before we actually got to go into the house for the second, well, I can't say all of that because that's really behind the scenes stuff,
Right.
but we're not supposed to be talking, and he's still talking and he's still making us laugh, and he's making weird sounds. So I did think he was just a jokester. And it wasn't until I think a couple conversations a few days into my HOH where I really realized that not only does he have this jokester side, but he also has a very complex personality in the sense of he's artsy, he's intelligent, he's athletic, he's very a protective type of person, and he seems to be like a man of his word, like, you know, all
Yeah.
these facets to him that were really, really surprising. So I'd have to say he was probably one of the biggest ones that I had kind of an idea of who they would be, but then completely different once you get to know them. But you were a little bit like that too, Joseph, I'd have to say, in my opinion. You did come into the house with kind of like this nonchalant, you know, not really a big fan, but I'm here for it. And, you know, this is kind of lame. And I'm just like dealing with this. And every time something important would happen, you're like, can I go now? And then you would just leave. So I'm not sure. I wanted to ask you about that because I know that was probably part of your persona, your strategy coming into the house, that you wanted to play kind of like, you know, I'm just here for it. This is my summer. I'm going to have some fun here and use this opportunity. Do you feel like that strategy was good for you in your game, or do you feel like now looking back, would you have changed that all and just kind of come into the house like, yeah, I love Big Brother and I'm a
Yeah,
fan?
I think I don't, you know, it's hard to say because I don't think that's why I went home. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I don't think that's like that was the cause of me going home. If I could go back, I definitely probably would just have been more casual
Mhm.
about it instead of pretending I didn't know at all. Maybe just pretended that I knew a little bit, you know, and like I'd been watching, but maybe not as big of a fan. I don't. It was honestly a very, very difficult thing to keep up with. Like after a while, and eventually I just didn't care anymore because I was like, there's bigger fish to fry. Like even if they know I'm a fan or whatever, like are they really gonna eliminate me just because I'm a fan, like or whatever, like whatever. And I always knew too that like after a while I was in there, I just stopped caring because I'm like they're always gonna see Quinn as being the bigger
Yeah.
fan than me. So
Yeah.
like whatever, even if they know, then they know. But yeah, I guess if I could go back, I probably wouldn't have done it. But like I said, I don't think it negatively affected me that much. Like I
No,
honestly, but what do I
I
know?
don't think it did.
Yeah.
I I think that you thought you were like fooling people, but like I've told you before, I just, watching you study the memory wall and how strategic you were as far as making the relationships in the game with everybody. Not that they were fake or whatever, but you definitely were trying to take the time to get to know, and you kind of have to because we don't have anything else going on,
Right.
but you were genuinely also taking the time to get to know everybody on more of a personal level, not so much a game level. And so that's a strategic way to play the game as well, you know?
Yeah. No, yeah, I always tried to be like tactical in that way. Like you were actually a part of that strategy in my head. Like obviously our relationship was genuine, but also I had seen that kind of story before where somebody gets on the outs and people just kind of disregard them.
Yeah.
And then they don't and that person sticks around and you can utilize them like later, like, you know. So I always kind of saw that with you a little bit where I was like,
Well,
if
I
you
was a little bit of a threat because I was always going to be somebody that you could use as a shield. And I did play on that a lot in the game. I felt like I said that a lot too, like use me as a shield, guys, because everybody that was at HOH was putting me up.
No, yeah, I think that like I was saying before, I think you just got people to trust you just like enough, like Tucker, like just enough to where he would use that veto on you. Like, you know, I think you